What is up, guys? In today's video I'm going to talk about I guess my experience with both the MA Performance Stage 1 tune compared to the Brentuning Stage 1 tune. I had both for a decent amount of time, so I figured I would kind of express my my experience with both of them. Now that I got a decent amount of miles on the Brentuning, and I kind of got a feel for how it reacts and how the car feels and everything, I feel like I can give a good comparison between the two, because I know a lot of people actually cross-shop these two tuning companies, and so I figured I would just share my experience, since I was, fortunate enough to be able to have both of them, and both variants as well. So let me go over first what I thought about the MA Performance. Well, first off, I guess I'll start with the Cobb Stage 1, because that's what I got the access port. I loaded their Stage 1 tune, the Cobb Stage 1 tune, and it was okay. It's very, very safe. It's, you do feel things smooth out a little bit, and but you definitely felt some increase in power, which is nice. But it wasn't anything to write home about. It was very safe. To me, I don't think it was worth the money. If you were just doing the Cobb Stage 1 tune, I don't think it was really worth the money. But so I was looking for a little bit more power, a little bit more, I guess a little bit more oomph. So I hit up MA Performance, and I got their Stage 1 off-the-shelf tune. I loaded that up, and keep in mind, this is just an off-the-shelf. There's no e-tune or anything involved with this. So I loaded it up onto the access port and onto the car, and I immediately noticed a difference between the Cobb Stage 1 and the MA Performance. I just felt the boost was more, obviously, but I feel like there was a much bigger surge of power. I forget what the max, the boost that was supposed to hit, the peak boost, I should say, what the Stage 1 peak boost was, but I think I was around like 18 PSI, or maybe 19, I don't remember, but it was around there, and it was definitely enough for getting around town. The one thing that I really liked about that tune was it did a lot of pops and bangs with the, just on decel and doing downshifts and everything. It was really nice. It had a cool tone to it, which was really strange. It's amazing that a tune can really change the overall sound and I guess characteristics of an exhaust in a car. So I ran that for a while, but I really wanted to get an intake on the car, because I loved having an intake on my WRX. I just love the sound of it. It just introduced more visceral, experience. Just the sounds of the intake, sucking in air, and it just had a lot more turbo noise. I don't know. I really liked it. So I really wanted to get an intake on this car. With these cars, intakes are a little iffy, so you never know what you're going to get. But I saw that MA Performance offered an intake for the STI, so I decided to go with that. Went with the raw finish, which was just, there's no, it wasn't a color, it was just raw metal. Very easy install, and when you buy that intake, you get their Stage 1 Plus tune with it. Keep in mind, this is also just an OTS off-the-shelf tune as well. There's no e-tune involved, so whatever the file is what you get on the car. That's pretty much to it. So I loaded it up. I noticed again there was a pretty big surge in power. I think the peak boost I was hitting was around 21, which I think I actually even hit low 22s at one point, which made me a little nervous. I really don't like going over like high 20s, especially on stock internals, and it's pretty much a stock STI. I was kind of just asking for trouble, and I really, I wasn't searching for horsepower or anything like that. So, I just wanted some added noise and maybe a little bit added power if possible. But yeah, so that left me a little weary. I was kind of afraid to get on it, but I did notice there was an increase in power. unfortunately, after riding with the Stage 1 Plus MA Performance Tune and intake, I noticed the car started acting a little strange. I hit a boost. I was driving the car pretty hard at one point, and all of a sudden there was like a boost cut, or like a fuel cut. The whole car just like shut down. Not shut down, it was still running, but it went into limp mode. All the codes started flashing and everything, and I noticed the whole like motor shut kind of scared me. I mean, as any would with anyone. So immediately, I pulled over, I read the codes and everything, I reset everything, and then I just drove home. But that kind of left a weird taste in my mouth, just because I've tuned cars before and I've never had a bad experience with that. So I was just kind of really, really weary after that, and just kind of, I don't know. I kept the tune for a little while, but I started experiencing another code that kept getting thrown, which was the P000D code, which was it was like a fuel sensor. I forget what it was, or an oil. I forget. It's a pretty common issue in these cars, but for whatever reason, it kept getting thrown. Maybe like once every 2 to 3 weeks. I wasn't even driving hard. I would just be like for one of the times I was sitting at a stoplight, just popped on. So that scared me, and again, it left more of a bad taste in my mouth. So I started looking at other options. I know the P00D, it's not really tune related, but for whatever reason, I'll talk about it later, but it didn't. In other words, after I got rid of the MA Performance Tune, I never got that code again. So I don't know if it was coincidence or what, but I never got it again. So take it for what it's worth. So after those events, or those codes and stuff that were issues that I was getting with that, I decided to sell off the intake and kind of branch out and find something else that was a little bit safer in my eyes, and I felt more comfortable. Don't get me wrong, I thought the Stage 1 tune was great, but the Stage 1 Plus tune with the intake, I don't know. I don't know if I really recommend it as much as I used to, or I did in the past. It performs really well. Definitely there's a huge increase from stock. It definitely made the car go a lot quicker. The longevity of the motor and everything, I don't know. I really don't know. I felt I wasn't crazy about it. So I started branching out, and I started looking for something a little bit more, involved. I was looking at Pro Tunes, getting dyno tunes and all that stuff, but ultimately I didn't want to go that far. I know that's probably the safest way, but like I said, there's a lot of good tuners out there that do e-tunes, so I kind of was stuck, got my mind wrapped around that, and I came across the brand Brentuning. And so I hit them up and I said, hey, I'm looking to get some better performance out of the car, a little bit safer tune. Here's the issues I've been having. What can you do? And I also asked, I said, I have the MA Performance intake, and would you be able to tune my car with that intake? And immediately they said absolutely not. I don't want to bash any brands, but they just would not do it, which I completely, I understand. They said the only intake that they would tune with are the Cobb SF intake, and I believe they do Perrin and and maybe AEM, I'm not really sure, but or some other brands, but they wouldn't do the MA Performance intakes. All right, so I ended up getting the Brentuning tune. I ended up getting the Cobb SF intake with it, just because that's what they trusted, and that's what they just tune their cars. They work with their tunes with. I got the tune. Basically, what you have to do is load up the Cobb SF tune from the access port, and then you do some data logging with that, and then you send it over. And what they do is they they adjust and manipulate off of that map. So I ended up doing, there was 4 different revisions before the final one, and I gotta say, it's awesome. the car is just so much more smooth. It's a lot more linear as opposed to the MA Performance, where I found the car just to it was a little more sloppy. You know, it was I feel like there was a little bit more power at the top end, but the low end was a little bit more. It just was lacking a little bit. And with the Brentuning, I just feel like there was a lot more power throughout the whole power band, which is nice because it's a lot more usable power, you know, around town. And I've had the Brentuning for about 2,000 miles now, and it's just constantly surprising me of how great the car feels. You know, it's you know, when you're coming to a stoplight or a stop sign or a stop, and you're in the lower gear, and the car used to like buck and be jolty and jerky and everything. With the Brentuning, that's all gone. It's so smooth. You know, I can just let off the gas and just come to a complete stop, just coasting. And I wasn't able to do that with stock, the Cobb, or the MA Performance tunes. It was just, it felt really jerky. It felt like I didn't know how to drive manual, and I hated it. It felt unfinished to me. With the Brentuning, it's so much more smooth, and that just makes the car way more enjoyable to drive. I also did purchase the Burble tune, which was, I believe, a $50, you know, extra, which to me, I think it's worth it. It's not really that much money, and it's just it's a riot, you know. You know, if you want to go out and have some fun and kind of be obnoxious and loud and everything, that is definitely something I would just throw in the car. And it's just a lot of fun. I put a couple videos up on it on my Instagram and on the channel and everything, and you can hear just how obnoxious it is. One thing that I did note, I drove on it for quite a while, and the thing I noticed about it was you were able to really manipulate how obnoxious the car was with that tune. You know, a lot of people think it's just constantly popping and gurgling and they're making all these crazy noises, but I found that if you shift before 3,500 RPMs, which is basically what you do if you're just doing normal driving, it doesn't do anything. It drives completely normal. Once you get above that 3,500 mark, that's when it starts to pop and make some crazy noises. But you know, after a while, I do have my stock cats. I've read up on some things, people saying that if you do have cats in the car and you run that and you kind of cycle the cats a lot and they get really hot, and there's a chance that they can I guess blow out, so you can kind of ruin your cats by doing that. So it's not something that you want to run full time. Once in a while definitely is you know, more than okay. It really depends on obviously how much you use it and everything, but I ran it for quite a while, for almost 2 months I think, and I have absolutely zero problems. So if you are catless, you know, you obviously won't have that problem, but I do have a stock downpipe, so I do have the stock cats in here, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't breaking anything or going crazy and making this making something that didn't need to be. So I'm just running on the final revision of their tune that they gave me, which was great. You know, because it was specifically geared towards my car. They looked at all my numbers. They asked me specific runs to do for the data logging and everything, and it just made me feel so much better about the tune. And this is just what the car should have felt like from factory. It's so much quicker, so much smoother, feels so much better. And even without the Burble tune, you do get some cool gurgles and stuff. Not as much as you do with the Burble tune, but that option, you know, you still have it, which is really nice, because I like the gurgles more than the pops. The pops are kind of a little too it gets people's attention too much, but the gurgles are kind of nice. It sounds really aggressive. It sounds really cool. So all in all, I'm much happier with the Brentuning. So if you are kind of on the fence about which one to go with, for me, I think the Brentuning is a better bet. Yes, it is more expensive, but you know, it's kind of one of those things, you get what you pay for. I don't want to bash M Performance at all. I really did like their Stage 1 tune. Like I said, I wasn't crazy about the Stage 1 Plus tune and their intake, but their customer service was great. You know, I had some questions when I was running into those issues with the codes popping up and everything. They answered them really quickly, and I don't have any beef with them at all. It's just me and what I preferred on my car, so I don't think you could go wrong with either choice. It's just a matter of what your budget is and kind of what you're looking for in the tune. So that's my review between the Brentuning, or the M Performance and the Brentuning. If you guys have any questions, just be sure to ask them below. I'm sure I missed a few things. You know, it's kind of hard to show, you know, what a tune does. It's not going to really show well in a video. It's just going to show me accelerating and stuff. But I really encourage anybody to go check them out. They're very informative. They know their stuff. And if you guys have any questions, you know, you can ask me below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So thanks for checking out the video, guys. I'm going to try to get some more out. I know I've been slacking a little bit, but you know, the weather here in New Jersey is getting colder, so I'm not as motivated to go out and do some videos. But you know, I'll throw some up. I still have a whole list of videos that I want to get done. So when I get a chance, I'll be sure to get those done and post them up for you guys. So, but thanks again for the support, and if you haven't, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll check you guys in the next video.